Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN just after 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We got about 1 hour left to go in trading, and you got markets trading a little bit south today. We're approaching the lows of this morning, and we're negative by 10 points in the S&Ps, or about 0.2% in the red at 63.30. NASDAQ 100, negative by 0.2% as well, negative by 45 points at 23,205. You get the Dow off 0.5%, or 227 points in the red. And check out this slow little consolidation area right now. Been in that area since about 10 to 11 in the morning on the indices. The Dow at 44,490 and the Russell off by 0.8% as well, or 17 points in the red at 22,050. Talked about it on the top of the hour update there. You got Bitcoin pulling back actually as Ethereum trades higher, but we are right near highs. 117,000 for Bitcoin, but off $1,800.45 on the session. You jump over to Ethereum, up by 3.8%, but giving back some of those gains as well. Ethereum up $131 at 35.53. Now, Ethereum, you are still well from the highs. Those all-time highs, yeah, 41.42. We were near that area a few times last year, which is why I pulled that chart back. Take a look at this thing. Look at that. Ethereum right to the 1-to-1. Now you can take a few different points. That first acceleration of May 13th, you almost had a consolidation area. You build some cause. And then the run begins on the breakout of July 9th, right? But nonetheless, you're talking about a 1-to-1 exactly to the move from today. We trade up to 36.8450 and just ballparking it. The 1-to-1 was about 36.80 on Ethereum. I was looking at that one earlier. How about that one, right? Hey, we just traded up on June 23rd, folks, on Ethereum of 2,100. This thing's on a tear. Okay, we jump over to yields right now. A little bit of a reprieve. Now that is updated. We have higher price, lower yield right now today. We're at 110.25. But the dollar's remaining strong. Look at that tail. We trade lower. We get it all back. Right now we're pushing 98.50. And gold just consolidating near that 1-to-1 as well. Take a look at the dollar for a second. You know, you're talking about a move here. Even a 302 gets you, 382 just gets you back to the bounce that you were at in May 12th. And that's still in a negative trend with pressure to the downside, and that should be the case with Chairman Powell. Longer term right now, over the period of the next 10 months, there is going to be pressure for the Fed to cut. Whether Chairman Powell is going to do it or not, of course, remains to be seen. But 10 months in the market, okay, the market is forward-looking. The market goes at least 3 to 6 months out. And already you're getting discussions. Now, he wouldn't call for it, and it is baffling. I said, why don't you call for it, you know? And listening to the interview that he was doing on Bloomberg today, you have Fed Governor Christopher Waller hinted he would dissent if his colleagues vote to hold interest rates steady. Well, and then he talked about you only want to dissent if you're really going to dissent for merit. You don't want to get into this issue where you dissent and then you're continually dissenting and it loses its impact. So we'll see what happens. But he's talking about the July meeting. And it's about jobs, as it would be. Private sector is not doing as well as everybody thinks it is. Most of the employment growth we saw last month was in the public sector. When you say most, maybe it was a preponderance of it, but it was about 75,000 in the private and in the governmental sector. 75,000, though? You could probably want that more than that from the private sector. Let's see if it shows us on this link. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it was 147,000. Private payrolls rose 74,000. All right, I'll pull up the governmental numbers, but it was a big number. All right, let's talk a little bit of Netflix. So Netflix down today. You jump over the Netflix shares out with their earnings last night. And listen, longer term, they're great earnings. Okay, they're talking about a little bit of margin compression in the second 6 months of the year. You're off by $65. And you want to talk about pullback possibilities in Netflix, and we have some selling. Okay? Check out this selling. That's how you ramp it up, right? We peak out, we accelerate last week on selling, and you really accelerate this week with some selling. We're coming into the $1,200 area, but this has been such a magnificent run. Very reasonable pullback is the 900 area on Netflix. You just traded down $141, folks, from where we were. Don't believe you can't do another 300 in a heartbeat. Yeah, you just traded down $141. We're only down $65 today. This stock's $132 to be exact off its highs. A lot of optimism. Netflix numbers, big numbers, man. Growing revenue, 16%. $11.08 billion in the second quarter. Yeah, second quarter revenue growth, 16%. Net revenue, revenue, $11.08 billion. The market was looking for $11.07. Somehow they make sure they come in over that number on a revenue beat. Full year revenue forecast, going to be a big number, up from their previous range. Okay, and yeah, they have a problem when it comes to margin, though. Second quarter operating margin, 34.1%, an improvement of nearly 3 percentage points from the prior quarter. However, operating margin is going to be lower than the first half in the next 6 months. They get some big shows coming up. Wednesday, Stranger Things, Happy Gilmore 2, Frankenstein. And yeah, ads, everything as revenue grows, $11 billion, man. But check out that selling with volume on Netflix right now. That's an acceleration, man. And look, we're going to do more volume than we've done since that pop on April 21st, where you broke away from 1,000. And we still got about 45 minutes to go in the week. And you've already done 24.3 million shares. All right, we jump around to some other companies with their numbers. American Express with their numbers, slightly in the red, up 2.4%. Now this one's got a possible double top here. You trade up to these highs on January 20th with 15.9 million. You break with 16.2, okay, but that has a close of 317.19. You were at 321.34 here. So what happens? You get up there, and then you give it up on volume, which is July 4th week. The next week you make that high, and now we're rolling over with volume. We have 15.2 million shares. Can we do 1 million shares in the final hour to get the weekly? We'll see, folks. We're coming back. Don't go away.